The truth is that this is the same person who actually claimed she didn't know her when salary was, and that it didn't even cover her rent. Angel Reese makes at least $5 a million annually, and she just made one of the most... She's out there making layups, struggling in almost every game, picking fights with opponents, and somehow believing she deserves NBA-level money. If that wasn't enough, she even hinted at a possible lockout if the league doesn't comply. I love how you guys have selective hearing. It demands because I'm hearing things like, yeah, they don't give us what we want, like we said no. That's a possibility. I can assure you that a lot of the WNBA smart people are saying, will you just shut up? Said out girl. You all benefited from everything, and your young people benefited from nothing. What does that mean we deserve more? This isn't just an entitlement. It's delusion. Today at P, we're going to show you why Angel Reese is totally off base, how she's making things worse for the WNBA, and why no one would care if she actually sat out. This meltdown is so ridiculous, that's you lost 40-50 million. Who would cheer for you all to skip the NBA so they don't have to pay your stupid asses 40-50 million a year? Let's start with the on-court problems. Because if you're going to demand more money, you should at least be playing at an elite level. And Reese is far from that in game after game. She's shooting some of the most inefficient numbers we've seen and struggling to finish easy shots. She even threatened a lockout if you guys don't give us what we want. One quick look at her field goal percentage tells you everything you need to know about the way negotiations work in the CBA, not on a podcast. She's threatening to go on strike, which is why you should occasionally have someone look over a podcast. This is because you can't be a post player in your mid-30s and expect anyone to take you seriously, especially when you're the worst in the league at shots within 5 feet from the rim. Even her own fans have begun to point out how she inflates her rebounding stats by consistently missing her own shots and grabbing the board. It's not elite play. It's just glorified stat. Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to watch a silly 6 woman who misses layups and turns the ball over instead of dominating games? She has a reputation for trash talk, pointless altercations, and over-the-top antics. But the problem is that none of that translates to real success on the court. Angel Reese wants credit, which is why the WNBA's up, and she also taunted Caitlin Clark, making this her history of taunting. Caitlin Clark has become one of the most controversial figures in the WNBA because she creates drama and then plays the victim when things don't go her way. Despite this, Rhea somehow feels that she's a big part of the league's growth and should get paid more because of it. But her fame and attention are based on Caitlin Clark because she won the national. She makes fun of Caitlin Clark and doesn't even celebrate with her teammate. So she's taking it personally. Let's face it, Angel Reese is not even close to carrying the WNBA. The league's surge in popularity are entirely due to Caitlin Clark, as evidenced by the numbers. Isn't she shooting about 35% from the field? Who in the world watches someone who is essentially grabbing her own rebounds from her own missed shots? Arena sellout, TV ratings skyrocket, and ticket prices triple when Clark isn't playing. Attendance drops and interest wanes. Reese, on the other hand, hasn't made any progress, but she has the gall to act as though she is on par with Clark in terms of expanding the league, which it's pure P delusion. For example, if I were an NBA owner, I wouldn't have become wealthy by squandering a couple $1 million on something that has no chance of succeeding. Now, I would personally miss watching the fever in Caitlin Clark, but I wouldn't miss anything else. Reese is going further with her entitlement by threatening to go on strike if the WNBA doesn't start paying her more. Let's face it, why should the league spend more money on a player who hasn't demonstrated her ability to be a top player at her position? Reese acts like an MVP candidate when, in fact, she has a long way to go before being regarded as one of the best in the WN. She believes that because social media hypes her up, she is automatically more valuable, but hype doesn't equal value in basketball or business. If Angel Reese had entered the league without Caitlin Clark, no one would have known who she was, or who Dijon Carrington was her sidekick. If Reese truly wants to get paid more, she should try to improve her game first. Always smart basketball and becoming indispensable on the court. Drama won't get her anywhere. Just hope you all know that the WB doesn't pay any of my bills. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Let me quickly do the math. Might cover that. And the best part is that if recent players like J. Carrington actually didn't play, the WNBA wouldn't miss them. In fact, the league might even be better off without pointless antics. No, my R is more than that. It's 8,000. I'm living beyond my means, and the WNBA will keep growing whether or not Angel Reese is there. 90% of this renewed interest is really based on one player, Reese and Carrington, who are out here acting like the WNBA is making billions of dollars. But let's face it, the league is still surviving off the NBA financial backing. Reese would just be another player who talked a big game but failed to back it up on the court. If you really want to go into business, you need to pay some money back. You made absolutely nothing, and you haven't really improved the league Caitlin Clark has. And if I were funding this league, I would say, all right, hold on, you got a golden goose. We all have one in Caitlin Clark. These individuals who are disparaging her, hitting her, and talking as though they are as important as Caitlin Clark are hurting our opportunity in the brand. Let's break it down. Unlike the NBA, which makes billions of dollars a year from TV deals, sponsorships, merchandise, and ticket sales, the WNBA continues to lose money each year. In fact, the league is still financially dependent on the NBA, which brings in about $40 million annually. $50 million a year just to keep it going. So you want to expand the game, all right. What I'm saying is that if you want to play in the major leagues and be someone who is more than just a player, you need to have a personality. I'll give you Angel Reese as an example. She has a personality, but it's ignorance. It was really stupid. Rhea recently complained on a podcast that future WNBA rookies will be paid more than her because of the next collective bargaining agreement. She acted as though this was some sort of huge injustice, utterly ignoring the fact that every professional league sees pay increases over time as revenue grows. That's sports economics. Rather than concentrating on honing her skills to land a bigger contract in the future, Reese is out there complaining about hypothetical paychecks that don't even exist yet. Thank you. But you told me I think they're going to get more than us. I deserve more, and so on. Oh, stop talking, but let's address the biggest myth. Reese keeps attempting to promote the idea that she's responsible for the growth of the WE. I want you to understand that, in reality, she isn't Caitlin Clark, as evidenced by the numbers. Every significant increase in WNBA viewership and attendance this season can be linked to one player, Clark. The Fever will draw over 200,000 more people than the next highest attendance in the league's history, my friend, who has fundamentally altered the league's landscape. Meanwhile, Reese's games aren't drawing nearly as many fans as her missed layups and pick fights. The WNBA is being carried by a select few marketable superstars, and Reese isn't one of them. I have a suggestion for you. Don't sit out. You have a real opportunity right now. If you think about it, baseball is going to disappear on ESPN, and ESPN is promoting women's sports like never before, rather than having everyone with a reasonable mind say, look, morons, nobody is going to miss you. This is your time to take advantage of it. Despite this, she still feels she should receive a huge salary just for being loud and dramatic. But sports salaries are based on value, not noise. Players could bargain for huge contracts. But since the league is still having financial difficulties and Reese isn't even close to being one of the best players, why should she be receiving a larger check? J. Carrington, you wouldn't even know she was if she didn't try to beat up Caitlin Clark in a game. But these two idiots got together as the most stupid people in sports and said, wait a minute, they need more money. In fact, NBA owners might be relieved if players like Reese chose to leave because it would relieve them of having to continue squandering money on the harsh reality is that Reese's entitlement and ignorance are putting her in a terrible situation. She believes she is forcing the NBA to give her a huge pay increase, but serious, showing how little she knows about the sports industry. If Reese and her peers follow through on their empty threats to quit, the league won't fail. In fact, it will likely thrive without them. Next, we'll examine why Angel Reese's most recent outburst is making her appear even worse, how she's damaging her own reputation, and why she's causing irreparable harm to her future. The WNBA isn't the biggest threat to Angel Reese herself. Rather than demonstrating her value through skill and production, she is out there making demands that no sane person takes seriously, acting as though missing games would somehow harm the team. I believe that Angel is more focused on becoming an influencer content creator than being a better basketball player. This was her taking pictures, hanging out with some rappers, producers, etc. In my opinion, Angel Reese is the most incompetent basketball player in history. She knows that she's not a very good player, which is why she spends so much time half naked, and she's not an MVP caliber player. Yeah, she's an inefficient shooter who struggles to finish at the rim, starts needless fights, and thrives on controversy rather than talent. If she chooses to sit out, the WNBA would lose nothing at all. This is Angel Reese, the content creator. It's pretty obvious that basketball is her top priority. I can't imagine how anyone could see this athlete in any other way. It's helping with things like shooting better from the field and Rhea and Dee Carrington made a big scene on their podcast by boldly saying that if you don't give us what we want, we're sitting out. But the real question is, who would care? This isn't the NB where the WNBA is already having financial difficulties, and with players demanding money, it just doesn't have a few of them stepping away. Could help keep things afloat. The question is, should teams invest in real stars like Caitlin Clark, who are bringing in record numbers, or waste money on players who generate more controversy than actual production? Yeah. The answer is clearly clear. I can't believe this is actually a clip that someone put out to try to make her look good. Superstar sitting out would send shockwaves through the league. In the third quarter of tonight's game, Reese only took 4 shots, missed the first 3, grabbed an offensive rebound off her own 3 misses, and then made the 4th, but quote, double-double. This looks exactly like Chicago's Sky from last year. There's a reason why elite athletes are careful with their words. They know their reputation matters. She looks terrible. I'm shocked. That was pathetic. And then finally, she makes the layup. We're celebrating that she's taller than hell out there. Can't hit a layup. Get in the lab, shoot 200 layups a day. Every single 365 days. The smartest players in the WNBA know that real negotiations take place behind closed doors, not on social media or in podcast rants. So instead of bolstering her case, Reese is giving WNBA owners more reasons not to take her seriously. The WNBA is finally gaining momentum, but let's be honest, it's not because of Angel Reese. She's out here recklessly spilling details from CBA negotiations on a podcast, running her mouth about salaries and making empty threats that only damage her credibility. Even her teammates must be cringed. In contrast to Caitlin Clark, who is the reason why new fans are tuning in, ratings are skyrocketing and arenas are selling out, Reese is dragging the league into needless drama instead of helping it grow. You have to see this Clyde player down court with the basketball 3 or 4 steps ahead of everyone, makes an easy layup and throws it to the girl behind her without any skills. So Lexi, right here, she gets the ball and she's going to pass it to Angel. Look at this, people. That's Lexi Hallwide. Angel's time in the spotlight is coming to an end. She not only failed to pass the ball back to Lexi Hall, but she also missed another freaking layup. Let's face it, Reese isn't even close to being Caitlin Clark's rival, but rivalries only matter when both players are equally talented. If she continues to play poorly, have attitude issues, and act entitled, she will become irrelevant. while players like Clark will build their brands and earn more money. Payroll's the right way. Here's the irony. If Reese truly wanted a larger salary in the future, her best bet would be to help the WNBA expand. Instead, she's actively harming the league by threatening a lockout, creating needless controversy, and dividing it when it should be uniting. She's sabotaging the very progress that could one day benefit her people. There was a lot of momentum, but no one wanted to watch Angel Reese. Come on. We know that the WNBA numbers with her and versus the numbers in the WNBA without her also have a significant gap, which makes us realize how powerful Caitlin Clark is. Caitlin Clark's appeal, Angel Reese can whine all she wants, but the league will go on without her, and nobody will care. She isn't the reason the NBA is doing well. She isn't the face of women's basketball, and she certainly doesn't deserve NBA money when she can't even perform well on the court. Her perpetual drama and sense of entitlement won't get her very far. If she truly wants to make more money, she should concentrate on making shots, avoiding pointless altercations, and genuinely helping the league's success rather than destroying it. At this rate, Angel Reese is headed to become just another forgotten name. Let us know in the comments if you think Reese is making the WNBA worse with her nonsense, or if she's just another loud voice. Make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the WNBA history while real stars continue to shine. Following one.